Robby D and the lesser known.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Robby D and the Lesser Knowns. I am your expert host, Robby D. What am I an expert of? Pretty much everything. So we'll just leave it at that. For those of you that are big fans of the show and watch every episode, we are Sans producer Will today. He had prior commitments, so it's just me. But don't let that bring you down. And please don't stop listening, because our guest today is fantastic. He is a man I've known since intermediate school. He's a voiceover master, improv guru, and all around lover of life. Let's welcome our guest, Mr. Landon Kirksey. Hello, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Robby. And I should address right away after that wonderful introduction that, yes, I do voiceover, and no, I'm not speaking to you from like a really nice microphone. And I feel bad because it's a podcast and I definitely should be doing that, but I'm not. So there you go.
I'm bringing in one of the best voiceover artists of our generation. He's on AirPods. Not everyone can see.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. You're not hearing the audio from the AirPods. You're hearing the audio from this MacBook microphone, because that is better technically. I don't want to sound like I'm on a phone call. So there you go. So I did think about it a little bit.
I mean, honestly, it still sounds pretty damn good. You still sound sexy. You sound youthful. I don't know if that's the character you're going for, but it's fantastic.
I'm always looking for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Landon. Let's just dive right in. We've known each other all the way since 6th or 7th-ish grade. Who remembers back then, right? we both had beautiful heads of hair. We were so young.
Yeah, right. It went away. Grew up together in Spring, Texas, or Klein, or whatever you want to call it, outside of Houston. Then reconnected after, I moved to Los Angeles, and you had been there for a while. So when I moved there,
I went straight there, baby. Straight there. I didn't pussyfoot around Dallas and Chicago like you did. And I think New York. I think you had a New York stop. Is that right?
I did have a New York stop. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did them all, and then you realize LA is home. Kind of.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, it is. I really like Los Angeles a lot, and I didn't expect to. I think the thing is when I was living in Chicago, that was like sort of the thing is like, oh, are you going to move? When you do this kind of thing, they're like, oh, you got to move, you got to move to Los Angeles, or you got to move to New York, and which is it going to be? And I was much more in the New York camp because I didn't have a car, number one. And so you could live in New York City without a car. And I just liked it better. I knew a lot of people in New York, and everybody had, LA has that thing, that like sort of bad rap, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh yeah, Los Angeles, it's crowded. It's, big sprawl. Everybody's like obsessed with themselves and whatever. That's all true. But, but LA is really nice.
I'm looking at myself in the reflection once. What was that? No.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, so before you moved to LA, though, you had also a pretty big background in stand-up. I remember watching you perform in high school. I mean, 10 out of 10. Wonderful performance.
Thank you.
So did you actually carry stand-up all the way through New York and Chicago and all that?
I did, yeah. I mean, I wanted to do – so I started as a theater person, right? I did the production plays and stuff like that in high school, and I did that even before high school. But after doing all that stuff, it became clear to me that I was like, oh, I just want to do comedy, and I don't really care what that means, like if it's a play or if it's whatever. And I think like the, sort of one of the easiest things that you can do, which is not easy, is like, hey, I'll do stand up, because it's just you. You don't have to rely on anybody else. And all you got to do is like, sit down, write some material and then find a place to test it out. Now I know all that is really hard and very difficult, and it's, that is daunting to do, but in terms, like, just logistically, it was easy. It's like, okay, I can sit down and write stuff. And so I started doing stand up. I didn't even really know that this whole world of like improvisation, I mean, I knew it existed obviously, but I didn't know how, in depth it was, or like just kind of the ins and outs. So when I moved to Chicago, I was doing stand up, and I wanted to continue to do stand up, but I also wanted to learn improvisation, and I wanted to learn writing, like sketch comedy writing. So that's what led me to Second City. And I just started at the bottom, like level 1, they do letters for your beginning levels. So it was level A basically. And, started there and, kind of went from there. And I continued to do stand up all the way up until moving to Dallas years later, where I hosted open mics and stuff like that. I love stand up. I just don't have time really to do that much anymore because the improv sort of took everything over.
Gosh, stand up is incredibly time consuming. Like the people that make it as stand ups, none of those people are overnight successes. They go to open mics 6-7 days a week, 2 shows a night. I mean, those guys make it look effortless because they've been failing at it for years. And that's one thing I think a lot of people don't understand.
And that's super fun. Like I liked that. Like in New York, especially because it's a, really, I mean, that's, a lot of stand-up comedy is kind of born there in a lot of ways. Like you could hit up, 6-7 rooms a night if you wanted and like just line them all up and be like, okay, I'm going to go here, and just do your sets. And, you see people that really kind of work that grind. It's like, it's hard, but like that was kind of cool. Like that was fun. And you get a group of people that you're friends with and you're like, okay, well, we're going to go to this mic and we're going to do this room and this showcase and this here. And you do it all together. And that was a lot of fun to do.
Nice. And then you moved into improv. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Well, I had been doing, I had that background in it. And when I got to Dallas, there was a connection at a theater in Fort Worth, and they, were like, okay, well, you can, like, we're going to start this other thing. And then also like our training center, like our classes, we don't have anybody, like we kind of need that to be, punched in the arm a little bit. And so I took over the training center there and I started teaching improv, and I had not taught it before. I had done it. I hadn't really taught it. And so I just kind of dove in head first, like teaching improv. And then I realized, oh, I know a lot about this. like as it turns out, all these years doing that, like I've like absorbed a lot. And I really enjoyed the teaching of it too. Like I liked teaching a lot. Like watching scenes. I like people kind of discovering things as they go through it. So that kind of led me on a whole other path.
But then that also, it goes without saying, I mean, you have performed a bajillion shows. I mean, you're probably still one of my top 3 favorite performers in Los Angeles. Nay, the United States, I would have to say. I mean, like they say it a lot about actors when like, when they're on screen, like they're scene stealers, you have to watch them. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel about your improv. I mean, anytime you come on a scene, it's like, okay, what's he going to do? I think we talked about it when we had that Toyota audition. You said, you see, I very rarely start scenes. I like to come in and just, and like add to it. I'm like, it's every time you add something to it, it's always good stuff. So I really enjoy watching your shows.
Thank you. I just talk louder than everybody else. That's just sort of that's the secret for me. It's just be loud. No, but I love doing it. And that's, it's so hard. Like if I were really focused on stand up, I mean, first of all, I don't know if my stand up is fine. And I was comfortable doing it. I enjoyed it. Would I be a successful stand-up comic? I don't think so. But I tell you what, doing improv is not good for your career necessarily, because it's not like they're, picking people off of improv stages all that much. But improv is so much fun, right? And
they are for commercials. They are for commercials.
No, for sure, totally. Yeah, you're totally right. But like, it's a lot of fun to do because you have that kind of built-in social interaction with people. And the improv community is not that big. I mean, even nationwide, like it's relatively small. So, especially now with everything kind of shrunken because we can't go anywhere and theaters aren't operational, it even shrank even more. So, knowing all of these people who do this stuff is really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Have you been one of the people doing the improv through the Zoom?
Yeah, I have.
Through the Zoom. That's how our parents say it. Are you using the Zoom again? Yes, Mom, I'm using the Zoom.
Yeah, I'm playing my game tapes on my Nintendo. I have. And I've been doing it mainly for corporate shows and for other applications for work, like, because especially now this time of year, we're recording this in December, there's holiday parties and things like that, year-end events. And so there's a lot of that I'm doing right now. But before that, I was kind of helping to run some college stuff, some college shows and things like that. Not all of them were improv shows, but still Zoom kind of productions. And so, yeah, doing a lot of stuff on Zoom.
All right. Well, before we move on to our next segment, I want to end this one on a negative note. Is there any point, because I always wonder about this for guys that are super duper funny and like me and you, and I was wondering, like, is there any particular moment of either stand-up or improv where you just said something you thought was going to be so brilliant and then nobody freaking laughed? And not only that, but it just almost bombed so hard. And what was that moment? And then what did you do to recover from it?
Well, first of all, it happens all the time. Like,
but sometimes they stick out.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. And it's funny because like, I often don't remember like the good shows. Like I don't ever remember, like a triumphant, thing like, oh, remember when I said that and it was so funny? Like, I don't ever remember that stuff ever, but I will remember something that I say that like doesn't hit, or if I start doing a dumb like character that, we just weren't on the same page with or whatever. I'm trying to think of a specific example because I know there's like 1,000, but it's also been, almost a year now since I've been on a stage, and that is really wild. I mean, it'll be, I guess, March, so like 3-4 months, but like, I'm really having a hard time remembering anything at all.
What about a corporate Zoom bomb?
Well, the best part about the corporate Zooms is before they start, everybody kind of comes into the room and everybody's just like on camera looking at each other. And that's all, like, and there's like 100 people, like, or whatever, in the middle of these rooms. And it's really funny because it's just this, and, tech, right? Like, so it's like, I'm not seeing you. I don't see. Are you there? And they're like not even looking at the screen. Those kinds of failures are super great. I love every one of them. I'm fully there for every single one of them.
Do you have like a spokesperson voice you go right into?
No, not really. It's just my voice. And that's the thing with voiceover, right? Like the days of like that, having this like, sort of bigger, I guess, like more resonant voice, like those are kind of gone. People don't want like big announcer stuff. They want something that's real, and they want something that is more relatable, which, I'm not all the time, but sometimes I am. And that's also why it's really good for anybody, like any actor can, or really anybody can be involved in voiceover these days, because, you don't have to have a voiceover voice to do it.
I spend so much freaking time. Well, not only do I read them when I get them from the voiceover stuff, it's always like conversational, but like when I do spokesman commercials, like, I almost can guarantee the first take I'll cut and I'll say, great, let's do it one more time. I want you to act like you're talking to a friend. Just like you're talking to a friend, like they're taking down they really come in with that big announcer thing. And I think that has gone way of the past, and I don't know why. I still like when announcers talk to me.
Yeah, maybe it'll come back sometime. And there are like some people that do like some kind of funny takes on that. I love. There's a British actor, Matt Berry, and he's very funny. He's in the What We Do in the Shadows and some other stuff. But he's got a very voiceover-y voice, and he's on some campaign now that's very, very funny. But he has that presentational voice that he can do, and he's British, and it's very funny. So sometimes for character-y things, yeah, definitely. But in terms of just regular stuff, I don't know. Maybe they don't want that sort of old-timey feel anymore.
Well, what about? I've heard you do a trillion voices on stage. Like, do you ever get to do any of those for the commercial audition? You ever get breakdown and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to do a 1870s gold rush miner?
Yeah, occasionally. Like there've been some fun, like sometimes you see it in like sports stuff, like they'll want like an old timey sports announcer, or like, some things like that, but nothing too off the wall or crazy. there was like a zoo somewhere that was doing a campaign where they had like the animals talking. That was a fun thing to do. But not other than that. I was a voice of a tiki, like a tiki lamp or a tiki torch for like a Taco Bell thing. But I mean, we didn't sound like, we didn't do any voices for it. We were just regular. We just did our regular voices, which I think made it funnier because you see this like crazy tiki lamp, and then it just has a regular voice, or like a non-affected voice, basically.
Well, and I've seen you do a show here in town where you're the announcer for a bunch. You know where I'm going with this. There's a show called Thunderbolts here in town, where a bunch of 5 very sexy and handsome men do improv on stage in skimpy clothes. And you are their DJ voice guy. And that is the biggest booming voice I've ever heard. And you do have some nice quips. I know you said you haven't been on stage, but I'm sure you miss doing that show.
Yeah, and we've actually been able to do a couple Thunderbolt stuff like on Zoom, which has been good. And for that show, my friend Dave, who started it, he had this wild idea, which Dave usually has these wild ideas, and I was like, well, you need a stripper DJ, like announcer guy, like here, coming to the stage, Cinnamon, oh yeah, that sort of thing, and I just wanted to do that so bad, and he was like, yeah, I think it's great, let's do it, and so I started doing it, and I haven't stopped, and I'm just doing Duffman for that, by the way, like just the Simpsons character of Duffman. That's all it is. It's like, oh yeah, welcome to Thunderbolts. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that's all that is. I've been called on it one time at the San Francisco Sketch Fest, coming out. The guy was like, you're just doing Duffman. And I was like, you're right. You got it.
That's pretty funny. I mean, because first off, massive Simpsons fan here. So I almost am going to have you just do Duffman for an hour. I might just call you one day, like, hey, I'm having a bad day. Can you just do Duffman for the next hour?
Everything's going to be okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you got me. That's fair. I mean, okay, so what are some other, just say someone called you and said, hey, we got a voiceover job. You can do any voice in the world you want. It can't be your own. You can do any voice in the world you want, and you're going to have to do this all day, every day for the next 4 years. What voice would you pick? Oh, I think this voice would be perfect for your product.
So I always fantasized about, we're from Texas, and I've always fantasized about being the voice of Whataburger. And when we were growing up, Robbie, I'm sure you remember, but they had the Whataburger voice, like the guy doing the Whataburger voice it was a guy that just sounded like this. When you want a Whataburger, you're going to go in and get a burger. And it's like, it was just this like very jowly, like, you want a what? You can't just have a regular burger. You want a Whataburger. And it was great. They got rid of that guy, or maybe he died. I don't know. Now I'm not sure what to say because I'm not sure if he's still with us or not. But he was also like from Ohio. He wasn't like a Texas guy. I know.
Yeah, and Whataburger sold to that corporate Chicago bank, and people got pissed.
They did, but I think that's okay because if that expands Whataburger, that's great. But
fair enough.
But like I've actually auditioned for Whataburger since then, and they've gone in an entirely different direction. They want just very natural voices. As a matter of fact, I think I'm not 100%, but I think a buddy of mine is on the current Whataburger spots. But yeah, I would want to do the Whataburger guy for basically anything. I could do it for whatever. Like, you want a Ford Bronco. Oh yeah. Get yourself a Ford Bronco. That would be my favorite to do.
Oh my God, I love it. Hey, once again, I want to bring it down negative.
Great.
Is there any particular time? I mean, because I'm a big fan. I'm like the anti-story, right? Of course, I want to hear your successes. I know there's been a lot of them. You're very funny, but I like to hear the negative side of it too. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Is there any particular audition in your past you've had where you just walked out of there going, "What the fudge was that?"
all the time. Like, well, okay, so there was one for a video game, and I don't like even talking about it because it makes me feel bad. But like, they gave for
yeah, sorry, I said you're gonna talk about it.
for the video game, they gave the whole script basically. It was like this phone book of a script, and it was for a game where you were basically like space marines. I won't say the name of the game. It was also a very bad game. And they just gave like the script, phone book, no character breakdowns of any type, just names, and then just the whole thing. And I go into the booth, and I had not been given any direction. This was an in-person audition, which doesn't. So this tells you, first of all, that it was kind of a while ago. But so I'm there with like a few other people. We're waiting. People are coming out looking confused. I go in there, and they were like, "Okay, who'd you want to read for?" And I was like, well, I mean, I don't know. I could read for whoever. Like, what would you like to hear? There's no breakdowns here, but I mean, I could just go with it. And they like, just, I don't know, just pick something, whatever. So we ran through a couple of them, and it was fine. And then the guy comes in the booth, one of the guys running the session, and he comes to the booth, and he's like, "Hey man, listen, you're an actor. I'm an actor too. Listen, sometimes you just have to make choices, and I think that's what we really wanted to see, is just like you making a choice about something." And I was just like, I was shaking. I was so angry because it was like, I'm supposed to make choices on nothing. Like they didn't even have breakdowns like for any of the characters. Like, I don't know who these people are. And it's all just like generic, "Oh, they're over there, fire." It's that kind of a thing. And I walked out of there, and there was another guy out there who was a very experienced voice actor, and he was like, "It's a mess in there, isn't it?" I was like, yeah, it really is. It's really awful.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! It's a mess in there, and you're like, God.
But sometimes that can be okay. Like. So there, I think before we started recording, you were asking about, or you sort of talked about like, what is a time that, that was like, you didn't know what we were doing. And there was one where I was in for this was for a grocery outlet commercial, which is a grocery store on the West Coast. And they wanted to do a song, but they didn't have a song written. Instead, they had this guy in the vocal booth with a guitar, and they were like, "So, Landon, this is Mark," or whatever his name was. Mark's going to play some stuff. There's a script in front of you. Incorporate some of that stuff into it. And if you just want to make up a song, make up a song. And so he just started playing the guitar, and then I was just like singing. So I was just making up a song as I was going and singing, and it was for this commercial where they were using puppets. So like the puppet would sing in the actual spot. And that thing ran for like 3 years. Like, like they ended up using it, and it worked, and it was, weird and fun, but yeah, like there wasn't really any direction other than make up a song, which was good.
Please tell me you remember the song.
I think it's online. I think it's on one of my old reels, but it's like, it didn't rhyme or anything. Like it wasn't like a good song. I mean, the guy playing guitar was great, but I mean, it was just me like, "Grocery outlet has 100% money back guarantee." It was just like me just literally reading the script, but like kind of singing, kind of not. Like it was ridiculous. But then that thing ran for a while. I don't know.
And they give you a cashback 99%. Turn page over. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Was I not supposed to read? You said read everything on the page.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to read that thing, but I did anyway. This is the song I sang.
Yeah, but that's not by accident, because you actually did a ton of, I'm not sure what the exact term is, but singing improv. I know, is there a word for that?
Yeah, we call it musical improv, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've done a fair amount of that.
I thought there was another word. I thought there was like a cooler word, like smimprov.
Smimprov. That's exactly what it is. I didn't want to use the technical term for people because I didn't want to intimidate anybody.
What do I write over? I was going to use it, but I didn't think your dumb ass would get it. That's fantastic. But I mean, I just wanted to highlight that because I've actually seen you perform in the late night show. I can't remember the name of the group you're in, but you had the keyboardist there and everything. And you guys did a musical improv, and that was
that was a while ago. Yeah, thanks. That was really good. There's some amazing performers in Los Angeles. I think that was headed up by Alex Catalano, who's very, very good, and then my buddy Ray Timmons, who's hilarious. And yeah, I think James Kirkland did a show or two with me with that. And then, yeah, it was super, super funny people. Love doing that stuff.
Well, that may have been funny, Landon, but I got some bad news for you because this next section is not funny at all. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite of funny. If you think of the word funny, think of the opposite, because that's what this section is called. It's not called that, but this next section is not funny. Get ready for method acting. Okay, Landon, I hope you're enjoying these last few minutes of possible life for you, because this is no joke. Yeah, no, you could die. Dark. You could die during this segment. I forgot to warn you before you agreed to do the show, but now it's too late. Is
there a waiver? I didn't get a waiver.
It's in the mail. All right, so we want to make sure that you're ready. I'll bet that chair's getting pretty hot. Why don't you grab your improv seat belt and buckle it in, because Landon, just buckle the damn Landon. Okay,
so I couldn't get it. Nice.
That was pretty good. All right, are you ready for question 1? You are Matt Berry, playing an employee logging on a Zoom to watch an improv show.
I can't get the link. I can't. No, hang on. I would like to get the link. The link. No, that's not right either. I wish I could do a Matt Berry. No. He's got kind of like that. What's the passcode? What's the passcode?
Okay, that was pretty damn good.
You're on mute? That's the other thing that he would say.
Well, now
you were not on mute.
You scared me for a second. I thought I was talking to nobody. Okay, that's pretty good, but that's only question 1 of 3. Now ready for question 2. Oh, ruined my tense moment. Damn it. Okay, question 2. You are the Whataburger guy coming in to read some lines for the newest Grand Theft Auto game.
Well, that's a pretty big bag of cocaine. I've never seen that much cocaine. You know, if I had all that cocaine, what I would do is take it and wrap it up and put it in a bag, and then I'd go sell it. Boy, I sure do like cocaine.
That was terrible. That was awful. You're lucky I'm going to even go to the next question, because I am not laughing at all.
Good.
I'm laughing at something else. Stop it. You're ruining my tense music. All right. Hopefully you can get past this third question with ease. Welcome to question 3. You are the Duff Man who's narrating himself peeing into a cup for getting drug tested. And this cup is getting dangerously full.
Oh yeah, gonna get clean. Here we go. No problems here. I can do this all day. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Getting a little full. Keep going. Oh no. Gonna have to do a whole swapsies. Oh yeah. Get me an empty cup.
And that's it for method acting. Wow.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much.
It was getting hot in there, but well, you pulled it off.
Whew.
Best part is you're going to live. You made it.
Thank you. Wow. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's good stuff. Oh, wow. That's great. Fantastic stuff, Landon. I mean, Jesus Christ. I was trying not to laugh at all, but I did. Okay, I'm back. Wow. All right. Well, that's about the end of our show, Landon. I just have one more question. That's the question I ask all of my guests here on Robby D and the Lesser Knowns, and that's, what would Landon Kirksey now tell Landon Kirksey starting his career?
It's okay to get a credit card because by the time you try to get one, it's gonna be really hard, and the credit system is broken. But you're not gonna have you won't have bad credit. You just won't have any credit, which is the problem. So go ahead and get one of those. Get a Discover card, you dummy. Like, that's what I would say.
And if I may amend my question, which the answer was fantastic, but is there anything not fiduciarily related, something is mental, perhaps you'd tell yourself as well?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fine.
Are you sure? Are you asking me? Or are you telling me?
Yeah, that's what. Hopefully, younger me would hear the fear in older me's voice and know that that's code. It's gonna be fine, and then it'd be like, oh, I need to go get a job.
I'm gonna be a lawyer. Oh man, that's another one. Duff man presenting a case. Your Honor, it could possibly be.
Objection. Sustained. Oh yeah.
Good call, man. Oh, fantastic stuff, lady. Real pleasure having you in the show today. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you want to, I think you have a podcast coming out. If you want to plug that real quick.
Yeah, I'm in it. I play multiple roles, kind of small roles, but I've been producing this podcast called Christmas Steve. It's it's kind of like a Hallmark movie in audio form, and it's written by some very, very funny people. My friends Sean Casey and his wife Ann, and they are hilarious people. And then in it are amazing performers: Jen Burton, Dave Tooney, Julie Brister. We've got some really, really top talent in it, and yeah, it's available wherever your podcasts are sold or distributed. Not sold because it's free; it's a podcast. So come get it. Get that hot podcast. That's why I don't do marketing.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, you're doing great. I love it. Just visit stamps.com. I feel like that's every sponsor of every podcast in the world.
Mail kahimp.
It's a chess sound. All right, that's it for today. Thanks, Landon, for coming all the way from Tomball, Texas. I appreciate you swinging in. And for those of you out there, thanks for tuning in. We'll have another fun episode next week. Be sure to tune back in. Producer Will might be back. We'll find out. But our guest...
I'm a little offended that Will's not here for me.
Well... You know what? I'm going to send him this clip. Let him know. But you're welcome. Don't worry, because actually next week we're going to have in the wonderful, the talented John Travolta is going to be here to talk about some stuff. So that may or may not be true. Only one way to find out. That's for you guys to tune in, and we'll see you next week.
Robby D and the Lesser Knowns.